What is going on, guys? It is your girl Dax and welcome back to the channel, and it is time for yet another wrap up. So in the month of May, I wanted to kind of vet out some of these series that I have the first volume to and have yet to start the series, because the pile is getting kind of high, and with new releases coming out or new series debuting, I should say, I don't want to keep stacking on that pile without knocking some of these out. So a lot of the things that I read this past month were volume ones, and then there's a couple of continuations in there as well. The first thing I read was From the Red Fog, and I thought this was about vampires, and I was sadly mistaken, but I was also pleasantly surprised as well. So this is about a boy who comes from, we'll say, an abusive household. His mother keeps him locked up in a cellar for reasons I won't get into, and he eventually gets adopted out, and we're watching him adjust, so to speak. That's super vague synopsis, I know, but I got my enjoyment from going into this blind. Well, not blind on purpose, I thought it was one thing and it wasn't at all. So, I mean, that's my fault. But I want to keep it vague for you guys as well. It is dark, it is gruesome, it is gory, so I'll give you that much. It's set in 19th century England, so the fashion is marvelous, and I will be checking out volume 2 for sure. Next up, I read Gagant volume 7. It is about a adult film star who has a highly illegal relationship with a high schooler, and volume 7 has me stressed out. I can't wait for volume 8, and that's all I got to say about this one. Next, I read My Lovey-Dovey Wife is a Stone Cold Killer. Had to make sure I got that right. And this is about a guy who marries a hit woman. This one was not for me. The wife comes off a little dumb and also a little psychotic, and the husband seems a little too awkward for my taste. She doesn't know what baseball is, which is odd to me, and he gets embarrassed every time he sees his wife naked, which is also a little odd to me. She's very cold, which, I mean, she's a hit woman, I guess I get that, but she can't tell her husband I love you. Her answer for everyday life problems is violence. This feels like that one series, and I can't think of the name off the top of my head right now. The guy that fell in love with the robot, or my robot wife. I've talked about it before. Y'all know what it's called. I'll leave a picture here. Anyway, she gives off those vibes, and that's not a good thing because she's a person. So volume 2 won't be happening for me. Next up, I read Sisies Pious Lie, and y'all,
you're holding it wrong. You're holding it wrong.
This is a new favorite. Instantaneous favorite. There is so much going on. There are so many layers. There is so much to unpack here. I could probably talk about this for days. So this is about a high school teacher and the dynamics that she has with two men in her life, one being a high school student and her best friend's husband or fiance, one of the two. This is not going to be for everybody. Let me start off there. It is very heavy. It explores power dynamics between men and women, between ages, teachers versus students, how important it is to be there for kids, but it's hard to be there if you can't be there for yourself, if that makes sense. Like, how are you helping somebody else with their problems when you can't help yourself with your own problems? Now, I won't say that it is impossible to do so, but you do run the risk of trickling your own personal biases into said problem solving skills, and we see a lot of that in here. This shows how easy it is to pass down trauma to other people unknowingly. This is so good. I love this so much. I wholeheartedly thought that this was going to be a one shot. This could be a one shot. So the fact that this is going to be a series tells me that this is probably going to be a wild ride. I think it is a very important ride. I think it is conversation that needs to be had. I love that it's coming from the perspective of a woman. She has my full undivided attention. And this was, without a doubt, my favorite read of the month. And you gots to know it was real because I also read, that's the back of the volume. Let's try that again. I also read Record of Ragnarok Volume 2. And this one we wrap up the battle between Lubu and Thor. And in this one, it is Zeus versus Adam. You know, like Adam and Eve. We also get some fun cameos from Mozart and Johann Sebastian Bach, which my little music snob heart just loved so much. This is just, you know, another fun, good, beat 'em up battle, nonsensical goodness. I love this series so much. I'm going to continue to love this series. I love that all of these different religions are represented and all of these different prominent figures from humanity are showing up and just showing out. I love it so much. Next up, I read Sakamoto Days, Volume 1. This is about a hitman. I think in my haul I called him a yakuza, which is not the case. He is a hitman who is retired, okay? He met the love of his life. He started a family, and he's done fighting in the name of love. But much like gangs and whatnot, you can't just quit the business, okay? You can't just be like, I'm good, y'all, I'm done. No. So with him quitting, all these other hitmen are after him to kill him. Meanwhile, he's just trying to live a normal life, you know? So I didn't hate this, you know? It was okay. It was alright. I didn't love it. It was kind of funny. It's got some action in it. I don't know how I feel about his little sidekick. This guy right here. Like, on one hand, he kind of annoys me, but on the other, I guess he's okay. I don't know. I don't have any strong feelings towards this. I probably won't pick up Volume 2, but I will probably continue reading it on the Shonen app for now. Next up, I read Volume 1 of Ciguatera, and I like this one, and I can't quite figure out why, because not a whole lot happens, at least in Volume 1. So we follow, I don't remember his name, a boy, Ogino. Yusuke, we're gonna call him Yusuke. So we follow Yusuke, who is a high schooler who is getting bullied relentlessly in school, and during the nighttime, he is in a motorcycle class because he's trying to get his motorcycle license secretly. The only person who knows about it is his BFF, who is also getting relentlessly bullied in school. At this motorcycle school, he falls in love with this girl, never spoken to her, don't even know her name, but he sees her and is like, that's the one for me. Anyway, I picked this up super blind. I saw a Right Stuff post that was like, hey, if you like Goodnight Poon Poon, you'll love this too. And I was like, you know what? Let's put that to the test because I do love Goodnight Poon Poon. So I picked it up, and like I said, not a whole lot happens in this first volume. I don't love it. I don't hate it. But I am very much intrigued to see where this is going. Because it's almost like I'm waiting for something to pop off. And you can feel like something is going to pop off. But it just hasn't yet. I do kind of see the correlation between this and Goodnight Poon Poon. There's a lot of subplot going on that I think is going to take a turn. Like, I'm very interested in Yusuke's best friend and what he's got going on, because I feel like everyone won't enjoy this one. It's definitely a slow burn, I'm hoping that the payoff will be worth it. I do have volume 2 already. I haven't read it yet, but I plan on doing it soon. I've taken on a lot of reading projects in June, so we'll see how well that pans out. But I don't think everybody is going to like this, because on surface value it feels like we're just kind of following around some angsty teenagers, and I mean we are, but I don't know, I feel like something else is coming. So I guess we will find out in volume 2. Next up, I read Rose and Blood. This is about Stella, who gets into a carriage accident. Not a car accident, but a carriage accident, because this is a period piece. Anyway, she wakes up in this gothic style mansion full of these pale men, and wouldn't you know it,
Vampire.
it's a vampire story. And not like scary vampires, but like sparkly vampires. And yes, these vampires do in fact sparkle translucently. Did I like it? I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about this one. This is a shoujo, which is something I don't normally read, so there's that. It's giving very much reverse harem. I don't do harems either. Stella's not the brightest bulb in the pack. We make it all the way to damn near the last page before she's like, oh, vampires. And anybody who's reading it would be like, oh, vampires, by like the 3rd page, you know? And she doesn't go, oh, vampires, because she figured it out on her own. No, one of the vampires ends up outing himself. So there's that. With that being said, I am intrigued enough to maybe give it a couple more volumes, but it's not an absolutely must read for me. So if I do, I do. If I don't, it is what it is. Next up, I read Sex Ed 120%. This is a manga about sexual education. Literally, it's sex ed class wrapped in a cute little fun manga. I really enjoy these characters. They're fun. The teachers are my favorite. I feel like this would be a good addition to like a sex ed class, or you know, if they could turn this into little pamphlets and give out at the health clinic, that'd be cool too. The relationship between the two teachers is hilarious to me. The group of girls are silly. They all have their individual personalities, which I really like. I do have volume 2, so I will be reading at least that. But this is another manga that's not an absolutely must read for me, but I did enjoy it. Next up, I read Your Turn to Die, Majority Vote Death Game. This is about a group of strangers that get kidnapped, and in order to survive, they have to partake in a series of games. Let's start with the positive things, shall we? I love the art. It is big, it is bold, the lines are clean. It makes my eye holes happy, okay? I love the premise of the manga. You know, it's very much Saw. I love the Saw movies. Well, the first couple. It's a bit like Doubt, which I read so long ago, but I vaguely remember liking it. I like the diverse cast of characters. They're all different. They don't look alike. They all got their own thing going on, which is cool. Cons. I don't like the escapes. Or I don't like that they're not shown. It's kind of like, oh, this is going on, and then we jump to the next scene and everyone's safe. And they're like, whew, glad we got out of that, okay. Okay, but how did you get out of it? My mind wants to know what's going on. And then on top of that, we get like this cop-out explanation. I'll go into a tiny spoiler to give an example. So the first game, 2 people are strapped to a bed. There's only one key, and the key only opens one lock, okay? And furthermore, once that key is used on a lock, the other bed will snap shut like a Venus flytrap,
A what?
and fold the other person in half and instantly kill them. Actually, you know what? I won't go into spoilers, but the way it plays out doesn't make sense, and we get a cop-out explanation. There's also a cop character who literally says, I don't feel like being a cop today. Don't ask me to answer any questions. My guy, protect and serve. What are you doing? Like, if anybody in this group of strangers should be surviving the most, it should be him. But no, he doesn't feel like being a cop. He's off the clock. He doesn't want to help anybody. There's another character who's pulling pranks and making jokes. These people are in a life or death situation, and my guy wants to be a clown. I'd have killed him off principle. Like, how are you not reading The Room right now? Anyway, I do have volume 2. I will read volume 2. Will I read past volume 2? Probably, honestly, as much as I hate to say it, because the story is fairly meh. It's alright. But I do want to see what's going to happen at the very end. So depending on how many volumes there are, I probably will read it all the way through. Am I going to enjoy the ride? Probably not. But I'm going to do it. Up next, I read the Highrise Invasion Omnibus, which is volumes 1 and 2. This is about a girl who wakes up and she's on top of a skyscraper. And for some reason, she can't get to the ground. All the exits that lead to the lower levels of the city, like the roads and whatnot, you can't get to. Everything's blocked off. There's also a masked man, this guy right here, who is actively trying to kill her. She does not know why. Through reading the story, we find out that the masked man, or men or women I should say, because there are multiple of them, their goal is to get said person to jump from the roof, from the skyscraper, to unalive themselves. Why? We don't know yet. So it's literally unalive yourself or be unalived by these people. The skyscrapers have these bridges, these rope bridges that connect them. So it's like a giant, I don't want to say it's a maze. I guess it's kind of like a maze. They're all connected, so you can go rooftop to rooftop. You just can't get to the ground. This is another one I don't know how I feel about. The main character drives me insane. I do not like her. I don't know. She's kind of whiny, and her thought process doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I like the idea of the story. I'm kind of on the fence about the execution. There's plenty of fan service in here, which is kind of weird, in my opinion, for such a topic, but whatever. I don't think there's a single character in here that I care about or has any kind of redeeming qualities. I do like I can't call it an art because it's just a moment in the story, but when she comes across the two police officers, that was kind of cool. It kind of went left towards the end of it. I like the part where is that it? Is that all I really liked? I think so. I like the character designs. I like the masked people and their get-ups. They're all very different. That's pretty cool. But overall, I need this main character to do something, anything, that makes some kind of logical sense. With that being said, I will probably get the second one, and if I don't like the second one, then I'll probably stop. Next up, I read Magus of the Library, and I adored this one so much. This is about a little boy from the slums. He is very poor. His sister works 3 jobs a day. So he has the ability to go to school. He also looks very different from all of the other school children. His skin is a different color. I can't remember what color it is. He has pointy ears. I mean, is he yellow? He looks the same color as everybody else. Maybe his hair is a different color? Something's a different color. I can't remember. The boy had eyes the color of moss, distasteful blonde hair, lifeless pale skin, and a pair of dreadfully ugly, long, pointy ears. Honestly, I think the kid is adorable. That's just me. So, the kids pick on him. The adults pick on them. Shame on you adults. You know better. And all this poor boy wants to do is read. He has a love of literature and he just wants to read his books and be happy. He doesn't bother anybody. He's a sweet kid. But people are just mean to him. Books are his escape. The librarian won't even let him in the library because he's a weird kid and he's from the slums, and how dare a dirty boy from the slums touch my books? Not feeling it. Then one day, the Kofna come to town, and that changes everything. Who are the Kofna, you ask? They are the librarians from the big city, the city of books, Afzak. I had to say that slow because every time I read it, I think Aflac, and we're not talking about ducks here. Anyway, this boy has always wanted to go to Afzak because it is the city of books, and the Kofna are highly regarded in society, and he wants to be just like them, and it takes off from there. And this is such a wonderful, heartwarming story. It is sad as well, but the two things balance each other out. I love the art in here. I love the world building in here. I love the characters in here. This is phenomenal. The writing, which I don't talk about a lot in manga, but the writing itself is wonderful. There are parts in here that just feel poetic at times, and it just makes me happy. I will definitely be picking up all available volumes as soon as I can so I can continue this read. I highly recommend this one to book lovers. I would say potentially fantasy lovers. I love the art in here. I can't get over it. It's so pretty. And I'm going to stop gushing about this one, and we're going to go on to the next one. Volume 15 of Jujutsu Kaisen. More pain, more heartache, more anguish. Like, this is some Game of Thrones stuff. No one is safe. No one is safe in this doggone manga, and it's not fair. Okay? Mojito, I hate you. Which makes you one of my favorite villains. Any villain, any character that can make me feel real life feelings is a good damn character. Mahito is such a good villain. I went, oof. I hate him. I hate him so much. But he's doing his job. So can I really hate him? In other news, I need this arc to be over. It's becoming too much. Not because that it's killing off all these people, but we've been here for a while now, and I'm ready for things to come to a head so we can move on, because I can only be this stressed out for so long before I just become numb to the whole thing and not care anymore. And I don't want that to happen, because I really do love Jujutsu Kaisen. So if we can wrap up this arc and move to the next one, that would be great. Next up, I read Crueler Than Dead Volume 2. We have better things to talk about. Up next, I read Volume 13 of A Bride Story, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I did not make bullet points on this manga, so I don't remember what happens in here, but I can tell you that I know I enjoyed it because I love this manga. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is focused on the twins, and they have visitors come to town. They do! The twins and Mr. Smith unite, and Mr. Smith's companion. Okay, yeah, not a whole lot happened in this one. This one is more about the twins and Mr. Smith crossing paths, and then we follow Mr. Smith on to the end of the manga. I don't want to say what happens, but I do remember I loved it. I forever love this series. A shout out to your bald-headed senpai for putting me on. And I don't know how many volumes are left, but I feel like it might be coming to an end soon. And last but not least, for the month of May, I read My Broken Mariko. This is about a girl named Tomoyo and her best friend Mariko unalives herself. This is not a spoiler, it happens literally in the first couple pages. And she finds out about it via the news, of all things. And we are following her as she's dealing with her grief. She wants to take Mariko out for one last hoorah before laying her to rest officially. You know, try to get some closure. Let me start off by saying that this cover is stunning, and it's probably one of my favorite covers, period. On the flip side of that, I was not a huge fan of the art style initially. It's very jagged, and there's a lot of sketchy, not sketchy like sketch, but sketchy like actual sketch marks. It gives that feel, but as the story unfolds and as the story progresses, the art style makes sense to me. I don't know if it was done intentionally like that, or if that's just how they draw, and it just goes well together. So it did grow on me, but initially when I first saw it, I was like, this isn't going to be for me. This wasn't nearly as heavy as I thought it was going to be. It did leave me with a bunch of unanswered questions. There is a semi-open-ended ending, which I'm not a fan of, but that's a personal preference. That doesn't take away from the story. But I will say that this is still worth the read. I don't know if I'm being biased, because unfortunately Mariko reminds me of someone in my life, which makes me kind of sad, but it did open my eyes to some things and made me have a talk with said person. So, you know, so that might be skewing my judgment just a wee bit. I don't know, but I did enjoy this story. There's also another story in the back of this called Yiska. Yep, I flipped right to the page. Go me, called Yiska. I don't have any thoughts about it because I didn't read it because I didn't care. Sorry. Look at us ending things on a good note. We love to see it. Anywho, that is all that I read in the month of May. Let me know down below your favorite read of May and your least favorite read of May, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.